Otumuheke Hot Stream Cultural and Ecological Enhancement Project. Afternoon, Fraser and Gareth.
Good afternoon.
Through the chair, I'd like to just introduce this.
Kevin.
Okay. Yes. So the concept plans for Otumuheke Stream project were presented and workshopped last Tuesday. Basically, the project is, at the start of Hoka Falls walking track. You will see from the report that there's been a massive increase from 2005, about 500 people a day, to 2016 to 1,500 people a day. The project seeks to enhance this popular area. The key issues there, which are well articulated in the report, are no recognition of the cultural significance to the site for Māori, erosion, so that's river erosion, and also traffic erosion, bush toileting, damage of rare ferns, and also increased number of complaints around threatening behaviour around that site. So the decision we're asking today is to approve the concept plans and go to detailed design and tender. So we'll take the report as being read, but since there were a few that couldn't make the workshop, I've asked Fraser just to run through. He's just got 3 or 4 slides. Thank you.
Which will come up any second, but until they do,
Okay,
worship
thanks,
councillors,
Fraser.
we'll use the ones in the agenda, if that's okay. So the first one's just to clarify the site itself for anyone who hasn't been there. It's the confluence of the Otumuheke hot stream and the Waikato River. And it's about 100 metres by 100 metres, the site, with the river, with the stream itself in the middle of the site. There's 3 ownerships, there's 4 key ownerships that pertain to the site. So there's Patuiwi Trust, so this is on page 88. There's Patuiwi Trust to the northeast. There's a thin slither of Department of Conservation land running up the river. There's the Tūwharotoa Maori Trust Board land with the Waikato River, and then there's council land to the south. As outlined in the report, the site problems are many. There's theft, drinking, damage to endangered ferns which run up the unique ecosystem that the hot stream allows. There's erosion, as mentioned, so that's riverbank erosion, but there's also surface erosion for the just a huge amount of catchment that comes down from Spa Park through this site. And then there's a real lack of legibility about the site. When you get there, you don't understand what you're dealing with. Really, there's no signage that explains the cultural value of this site. There's nowhere to get changed. There's nowhere to use our toilet at all, and there's nowhere to linger longer. There's no nice grass areas for people to spend time there and take in the picturesque surroundings. I guess until this comes up, the next step would be to go to the plan itself. Now, every enhancement that we've proposed is to address one of the issues that we've uncovered through this site. Sorry, one other thing to add is that we've worked really closely with the stakeholders on this site. So it's not only the landowners, but there's also the police and the regional council and the people who use it, the tourists and the locals themselves. So if I do a quick walkthrough, if we start at it's so small, but if we start at the bottom of the page, and at the top, the main change there is to bring in a threshold experience. So that's page 88, page 90, sorry, on the agenda.
So you'll note there's page 90, but there's also an A3 pull-out.
Yes. Yeah. So the threshold experience is important so that people, as soon as they get there, they understand the importance of this place and its cultural meaning, so that their attitudes are changed, because that's the main thing we're trying to change here. People are turning up and treating it, they're trashing it basically, and through bush toileting, rubbish, litter, and then the antisocial behaviour that goes along with that. So we're just trying to change people's mindset from the very outset when they get there. So that could take that threshold experience would be signage, but also working with Tūwharotoa and Patuiwi, having some cultural elements, so some carved bow there as well. The next element, or the next enhancement feature would be the toilet block. So because of the location or the vicinity to the Waikato River, which is a landscape area of significance under a district plan, we'd like to reduce the bulk of that structure, so nestle it into the bank. That provides us two opportunities. It reduces the bulk of the structure itself, but it also allows us to use the roof as a viewing platform, which will help with the passive surveillance issues that we have on this site. So if you're in the stream or you're in the site and you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, there's that opportunity that someone will just pop up on that platform and see you. And most thieves are notoriously shy, so they don't like that. The next feature is to improve the access to the site. So at the moment, it's a very steep access track down there. The regrading that track will improve that access. Then the next feature is to deal with the erosion. Excuse me. So realigning that track will help deal with the erosion that comes off the spa park itself. But the river erosion and stream erosion, we're looking to deal with that with features that are in keeping with the environment. So some rock placements and plantings. Also, relocating the bridge further up the stream helps reduce the need to worry about the erosion, because at the moment we've got hard infrastructure right next to an eroding bank, which is not ideal. So relocating it does two things. It deals with that erosion issue, but it also removes that troll-like experience that we're providing for people. And one of our... and one of our, which should be one of our best treasures, really, but we're not treating it like that. The next element, which will really help with the passive surveillance, is the proposed kiosk that Patuiwi want to put on their land, which is at the northern end. You can see, so they're proposing to put two modified shipping containers there with an outside decking area and serve coffee and tea and cool drinks. And they want to do that for two reasons. It's a great opportunity for them, but also they take the guardianship or the kaitiangi of this area very seriously, and they want to be a part of improving this area. There should be an image of the... Oh, there we go.
There. Is that the...
So this is the toilet block.
Oh, okay.
Which I mentioned, with the viewing platform on top. Toilets underneath and a changing area at the front, and then some lockers which are they operate by coin exchange, so there's no money kept on site. And I take the rest of the paper as read. Are there any questions?
The shipping containers, is that the latest thing, is it, or? Is it,
Yeah.
Is it, yeah, like, because that's quite a nice building. The toilet block's quite a aesthetically, yeah. There's no way the cafe concessionaire could sort of end up looking a little bit like that as well, no? Sorry,
no.
I'll be chucking these in a little bit late in the piece,
the bottom image there shows that what they're proposing. So it's probably very small. You probably can't make it out.
But a couple of things in terms of that. One is that's the private land component, so it's not on council land, so it's not actually your decision in terms of the shipping container.
Right.
Probably the second bit is that we all have in our mind the picture of a port with all the ugly shipping containers. They can be made quite nice, and the one, probably the local one, with the one at Totara Point, which is the little cafe there, which actually looks quite tidy.
Cool. Thank you. Councillor Park.
I was just going to say thank you, and I really enjoyed the interactive workshop with Patuiwi Trust the other day. I thought it was great to have them sitting alongside us and talking to us about this. As I mentioned the other day, I just don't know if one male and one female toilet is going to cut it. I just sort of think if we're going to do this, we need to do it properly and do it to future-proof, because the projected numbers are huge. So I just wonder in the design whether they can give some options on more toilets, pans perhaps. Also, that we will also have the opportunity to look again at some central government funding possibly for the shortfall with the Tourism Infrastructure Fund. That should be good. I think that where we really lack in our district to others is we don't have that cultural tourism experience or those stories that other areas have, and we need to start doing that. And I just think this is a really exciting project to get that stuff underway and sort of lead the charge. So I'm quite happy to support the the resolution to go out for tender and design?
Councillor Hickling?
It was basically the toilets at the workshop. It was mentioned that there's probably 1,500 people a day going through this facility, which is going to increase. I'm just wondering, like, the true value of the changing facilities, and because I don't know, perhaps even male, but certainly females, I think, prefer to go into a toilet facility to change sooner than be out in the open, as you might say, in a room. So I'm just wondering whether or not some of the changing facility could be cut down a little bit, and further toilet facilities. Just
Through the chair, that is something that we'll look at. We've already had discussions about increasing those toilets, so
Yeah.
the number of pans.
yeah.
Somebody?
Thank you, Mr Chairman. I agree with Councillor Park and Councillor Hickling. I had a talk with an someone else in tourism this morning, and they made a comment to me about down there, and I was there yesterday. 99% of the people either arrive in a van so they got their kit on when they get to the pools, or through the backpackers they're told to make sure they got their clothes, their togs, so they can on and off. But the one about the bathrooms is I think very important, that we can do away possibly with the changing rooms, but incorporate them with maybe 2 more toilet facilities as a cost saving exercise. So.
Right with that, Fraser?
I guess I've done a fair few site visits down there.
Yeah.
It's always weird to
What have you seen?
to prove that you're doing a site visit, you're not just taking photos of people down in the hole.
yesterday.
But a lot of people are still getting changed down there.
Yeah, with the towels.
Probably most of them, yeah.
That's not the information I had, but
Yeah. I think it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what you're asking. So we have some spaces.
Yeah.
One more pen, I think, yeah. Councillor Rankin?
One of the big issues is theft, and I know you're going to have lockers. Is that, and I know people are going to look over and be seeing, but is that enough?
It's in a public place. It's probably, there's limited things that we can do. Having the trust there is going to be a huge help. The thing that the police were really hot on was having a liquor ban down there.
Right.
That would help with that, I don't know, but it would help with the whole feel of the place.
It was a policeman who suggested to me that he thought we should have some big exposed thing where people could put their bags and stuff that everybody can see. So if you went up and took the wrong one, I mean, I don't know, but he did suggest that to me. And can I ask, the design of it, it does look like a power station. I assume it's not going to look like that once it's actually constructed.
Hopefully it doesn't look like
It looks like a power station to me.
Saying that to an architect, I don't know.
Sorry.
It might be solar powered though.
Interesting.
You can talk later.
Sorry.
Good question.
Sorry, Councillor Williamson.
Through the chair. Just hope this makes sense. In 2015, funds were allocated in the LTP primarily for toilets and pathway improvements. I realise the scope's changed drastically, but that $118,000 applied for from central government funding was based on that initial proposal, that scope.
So the scope's changed quite considerably.
Just on the because under the risks, if the council choose not to progress the entire concept, the objectives of the stakeholders, there's a risk the council will not receive central government funding, but
That wasn't what you applied for.
that's what you applied for, no. I know just the other question is the indicative cost of $750,000. Just as a bit of a, I know it's a bit of a breakdown where you come to that, the cost?
So I mean, that's why we're saying in terms of this, we are hesitating to give you a budget now to be approved and saying, let's go out to tender and see what comes in and see what it is. It's a relatively unique job, the way that it is. So it's really pie in the sky in terms of what that dollar amount really is. It's indicative of what's there. We could peel it back and peel it back to the level that was at that attracted that government funding. We could certainly do that. But I guess what this is a combination of accumulation of a whole lot of work with those interested parties and what they've put forward to you as the best. So our recommendation at this stage is if we go up for tender, see how much it is, and then talk about where that funding can come from. And part of that can be potentially going back to central government, as Councillor Park talked about, for further funding, potentially some development contributions, which if we don't use, we lose, and there could be other funding streams there as well. So we're sort of suggesting that maybe that's a subsequent decision.
So I see you indicate, any further applications for government funding would probably unlikely to be approved, particularly specifically for this project.
Could be.
It's
Could
once you've been approved on something, then I guess it's harder to go back for that. Yeah.
Well, I certainly support the whole project, notwithstanding Councillor Boddius and Councillor Pickling's and Councillor Park's comments about the toilets and the configuration there.
So, Mr Chairman, are we going to look at a tender for the whole shooting box?
Yes.
We're not going to do it in stages, so we can ensure that we've got the funding, toilets first, along with the protection of the riverbanks and things like that, then maybe the next step, which is bridge removal and...
Sorry, through the chair. We're gonna do a tender for a turnkey, but it's going to be split up into stages. So we'll cater for a toilet block separately, for earth moving works and then erosion control as well.
And that will go forward over, say, the next long-term or plan, so each year we've allocated something to continue with the investment?
No.
We'll come back to us to...
This is just going to give us a indication of budget,
Okay,
and then to be decided at a later date.
thank you.
Councillor Hickman.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would definitely prefer to do the whole project. I think this is a little bit like Whaiwaka and our driveway down through there. Sparthel Park was developed some 35 years ago on a PEP scheme, government scheme. This is probably the first major expenditure Sparthel Park's received. And I think with the partnership of the different landowners, I think it'll look awesome when we've finished it. And I would say go for gold.
Change the toilets.
Okay. Councillor Park, did you move it? You move it? You're cool. Can I have a seconder, please, for the recommendation that the concept plan's been approved? Okay, seconded by Councillor Hickley. All those in favour, please say aye. Thank you very much, gentlemen.